welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we're going to be doing a fill. So as you can see, we are looking at the nails from a different view, so hopefully you guys don't mind. But as always, the first thing that we're doing is going in with an extra coarse drill bit to remove all of the gel polish. And since she is pretty tall and has long arms, that's why her arms were kind of like all the way across the table. But I honestly didn't mind other than the dust, just because by that time like my back was hurting really bad, so I didn't want to have to like lean over a lot, so that's why we're like working at the very edge of the table. But anyways, we're just removing the gel polish. After this, of course, we're gonna go in and just push back the cuticles. Remember, you can use any type of cuticle pusher, whether it's metal, plastic, wood, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that it's something that can either be disposed after each client or disinfected. After this, we're gonna go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. Remember, you want to go from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth around that cuticle area to just remove the shine. Again, this is a 180 sanding band, and this can also be done with just a regular hand file. You don't have to use an e-file, but it does help with speed. But I know as a beginner, I know I was scared to get really close to that cuticle area, especially when using like an extra coarse drill bit or a fine drill bit. So it is going to take you a little bit of time just to kind of get used to it, but the only way to get better is by using it. So I do suggest that as a beginner, you start working with a drill just to get comfortable with it. But anyways, after we finish removing the shine from the natural nail, we're going to go ahead and dust the nails off. And for this set, since we already have that off-white color, we're going to go ahead and fill them in with that same acrylic. But first, we have to go in and apply the primer. So for my primer, I'm using the Protein Bond by Young Nail. I'll be sure to leave the link in the description. We just apply that on the natural nail, and we're going to be using the Frosted Pink by Mia Secret, the Mia Secret Pink Acrylic, and the monomer. And then as always, the brush that I'm using is my Alpha brush in a number 10. So since we're only filling in the nail, we place the first bead closer to the cuticle area. Make sure that we're really gentle, and then before you clean around that cuticle area, make sure that you wipe your brush off. You don't want all of that liquid or product on the skin. And then remember to just add more acrylic if you need it. And since we are using colored acrylic, or in this case the off-white color, we still have to make sure that we encapsulate that acrylic with a clear, or as always, I just use the Mia Secret Pink, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. Now, if you don't encapsulate this acrylic, once you come back to file, you are going to be filing away that colored acrylic, and it's going to make the acrylic look really patchy. So make sure that, again, you encapsulate with a clear or just with a pink or whatever you feel comfortable using. So same thing, we're going to go ahead and place the bead closer to the cuticle area, patting it down, and very gently just brushing it down towards the tip. Make sure that you spread the acrylic throughout the entire nail, because you don't want any gaps, especially around the cuticle area. And then of course, if you get any product on the skin, be sure to wipe it off immediately, because if it gets dry and it's on the skin, most likely you will get lifting. Again, remember, it's really important that you clean around the cuticle area, and then also that you encapsulate that colored acrylic with a clear, or like I'm doing here, I'm just using the Mia Secret Pink, which is a really translucent pink. So same thing for the rest of the nails. So remember that when you're working with your acrylic, make sure that you only work with the amount of product that you can control. You don't want to work with really big beads and then it's like running all over the skin. So make sure that you only work with a little bit at a time, because then at the end you also don't want to have to do a lot of filing from the nails being so thick. And then also pay attention to how I wipe my brush off on my paper towel constantly. If you don't do this, that product will build up in your brush, and then it's going to be a disaster. Also, as I always mention, you want to make sure that you invest in a really good brush. because that will make a big difference on how your product, or sorry, how your sets come out. If you're not using a good brush, that product is going to get stuck to your brush no matter how much you're cleaning your brush off. So if you're having that problem and you're constantly wiping your brush off when you're working and that product is steady like building up in your brush, most likely you need to upgrade to a better brush. Your brush is the most important tool when doing nails, so make sure that you're investing your money in a good brush. As always, I've been using the Alpha brush for a really long time and they work really good for me, so I would suggest, you know, you investing money into not necessarily Alpha brush, but you know, just any good brush that you know of. If anybody knows of any other good brushes out there, you know, that are probably a little bit cheaper but good, you know, just let us know, just because I know that everybody can't just afford, you know, the same things that everyone buys. So if there's any other alternative for a good nail brush, be sure to, you know, let us know so we can get in on it. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the rest of the nails. Again, we just fill in the back with the Mia Secret Frosted Pink, which is what I've been using for my off-white nails. And I do add a little bit of glow-in-the-dark powder. So this actually does glow in the dark. And this is the same one that I used on my nails now. Before, for my nut color or my whatever you want to call it, off-white or ivory nails, whatever you want to call it. I know everybody always makes fun of that. But I used to mix white and clear, and then I would add a little bit of glow-in-the-dark powder as well. But when I bought the Frosted Pink, I thought it was going to be more of a pink, and then whenever I started using it, I was like, this is literally the same color that, you know, I use for the off-white nails. So I just started using this one, and then again I just add a little bit of glow-in-the-dark powder. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and finish off this set. So same thing, applying the acrylic closer to the cuticle area, adding a little bit more wherever we need it, and then encapsulating the nails with the Mia Secret Pink, or you can use a clear. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in and just reshape the nails. So they're already that coffin shape that we had at first, but of course after we applied the acrylic, it kind of takes away from the shape just a bit, so we have to go back in and just redefine that shape that we already have. So as always, 45 degrees on the sides and 90-degree angle at the free edge to make sure that it's really straight. And I'm sorry that you're not able to get a really good view here, but I didn't catch it until afterwards. So just, excuse that, but same thing, just 45-degree angle on the sides, 90-degree angle at the free edge. So after we finish reshaping the nails, we're going to go in with an extra fine drill bit by Pana. And I'm using my drill at 10,000 RPMs. This is the Scarlett Melody Susie nail drill. And as always, I start around the cuticle area, going from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth until I'm able to see where the natural nail is, where the acrylic is, and where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way I know that the acrylic is not on the skin. And then of course also just following the rest of the nail to make sure that it's all nice and smooth and even. You don't want to have any little bumps and lumps. And if you do, because I know I've always had a lot of people saying like, I followed the nail and there's still bumps and lumps, the only way to get rid of those bumps is by just filing more. Sometimes you might even have to go in there with your hand file. It might make it a little bit easier, but you do want to make sure that you get rid of those bumps before you move on to the next step, because if not, you will be able to see those bumps through your polish and it's not going to be cute. So again, this is an extra fine drill bit and we're just following around the cuticle area, starting from the right side over to the left side, and then of course just following the rest of the nail. After this, we're going to go in with a buffer and we're just going to buff all of the nails. So now we're going to go in with the buffer, and this is just going to get rid of any of those scratches left on the nail from the e-file or the hand file. So make sure that you buff really good, because if not, you will be able to see those scratches through your polish. And also just a little reminder that when you're buffing the nails, this is not going to take away any of your bumps and lumps. This is just going to smooth out the nails. So if you still have bumps and lumps like I mentioned earlier, make sure that you file the nail really good with either a hand file or an e-file, but you don't want to move on to the next step until the nails are nice and smooth. Okay, so I dust the nails off and now I'm just wiping them off with an alcohol wipe. And then after this, we're going to go in with the color Ballet Slippers by Essie. And I'm going to be applying this on a few fingers, which will be the fingers with the ombre nails. And then for the rest of the nails, we're going to be applying different colors, and they will all be by D&D. As you guys know, I purchased my D&D gel polishes from my local nail supply store, and they come with a regular nail polish and a gel polish for about $7.50. There are some websites that also sell them, so I'll be sure to leave that down in the description. Okay, so for this middle finger, this is the color Petersburg Blue, and we're just applying that on this finger. We're cleaning around the cuticle area. And then for this one, this is in the color Lemon Juice, which is a really popular color other than Fuchsia Touch. I use those two colors a lot, and these are the gel polishes. And then of course, we're going to be curing this hand for 30 seconds, and we're going to do the same thing on the other hand, except for we are going to be switching some fingers around. But again, for the ombre nails, I always use this Ballet Slippers in the color, by Essie, which is a really light pink. And we just do one layer of that, and then we're going to go ahead and do the lemon juice on this pinky, and then we're also going to polish the middle finger and the thumb. Okay, so I ended up doing Fuchsia Touch on the middle finger, and then for the thumb, we're going to go in with Purple Flowers, which is also by D&D. After this, we're going to go ahead and cure this for 30 seconds, and we're going to go back to the first hand, and we're going to do a second coat, and then we're also going to be starting on the ombre. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go ahead and start the ombre. So I'm using the Makeup Witch sponges from Dollar General. They come in a little pink baggie, and they're the Dollar General brand. So we are doing the pink and the orange ombre on this one. Remember, for my ombre, when I'm doing the sponge method, I use the regular nail polish. That is Fuchsia Touch and the Dutch Orange. We apply that on the sponge and just dab it on the nail. Apply more if you need, better coverage. Just again dab it on the nail, and then clean around the cuticle area once you get the coverage that you want. Now for the other two nails, we're going to be doing a different color ombre. So I'm going to be using all of the other colors that I've been using, which is the same Fuchsia Touch, the Dutch Orange, Lemon Juice. We're going to use the Petersburg Blue and Purple Flowers. So we applied them on the sponge, and then we're just going to dab those on the nail. And then of course, just going back in and applying more polish on the sponge and just dabbing them on the nail again until we get that coverage that we want. Once we get that coverage, we're going to clean around that cuticle area, and that's pretty much it. And remember that you can use regular nail polish with a gel top coat, which I do that when I do my ombre nails. You just have to make sure that the regular nail polish is 100% dry before you apply that gel top coat on it, because if it's not completely dry, that polish will crack or it will peel. Alrighty, and since I already have all of these colors out, I'm going to go ahead and do the ombre on this hand as well. So remember that you want to make sure you keep adding more polish to your sponge, just because you will be able to see the colors get lighter as you apply them on the nail, and that means that you're running out of polish on your sponge. So you just add more, dab it on the nail, and then again just do this 2 or 3 times until you get that coverage that you want, and then just clean around the cuticle area. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and do the second coat on this hand and curing both hands for 30 seconds. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in with the IBD gel top coat, and remember that since we are applying this on the nails with the ombre, which was regular nail polish, we do want to make sure that that polish is 100% dry before you apply this top coat. So you want to make sure you touch on the nail and check to see that it's completely dry, and then you can go ahead and apply the top coat. And as you guys can see, I always kind of tap the sides of my nails after I apply the top coat or even gel polish, and this is just gonna help with like not take like sometimes the gel polish, if you apply it a little bit too thick, it'll kind of round off your corners. So when you kind of wipe the sides of the nails and the free edge, it makes sure that you keep your shape that we have. But I'm not just wiping all of the polish. As you can see, you know, we still have polish on the sides and the free edge, so I'm just really gently just tapping the sides and the free edge, as well as you see me doing here. Alrighty, so we cured both hands for 60 seconds, and here is the final look. They turned out really pretty. They're really colorful, and all of those colors just look so good together. So as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNailDirty2, and I'll see you guys next time.